Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. And tonight, oh gosh, sweat patch there. Sorry. I just put my arm up and I was just like, whoops. Yeah, played tennis a bit earlier. Changed my t-shirt, but it's still very warm here in the UK. And before I forget, I would say, particularly as well for my American viewers, I would say happy 4th of July. But ooh, is it really that happy? That's the thing. It's 4th of July, but yeah. Historical times. Let's put it that way. So welcome to the show. I was literally on a sprint to make sure that I'd get back in time. So I've printed off the questions, but I've not had time to necessarily check everything. But I made notes before the show about things that I wanted to talk about, So to give you a little overview of what we're going to be discussing today, obviously we're going to be discussing some of the big things, big news. Of course, we need to talk about the so-called big, beautiful bill, which of course is hideous, is an absolute horror show on many levels. We need to talk about that. We are going to be talking a bit about Zohran Mamdani. We're going to be looking at his chart. A little bit of a quickie dive in there. Very interesting chart. So some things I want to tell you about that. And one of the main things we're going to be talking about, of course, is this bill, which has been signed into Congress. Signed into, I think Degrasse, Trump would have signed it today, wasn't it? He wanted to do it 4th of July. I mean, what a booby prize, huh? What a booby prize. My goodness. But before we start there, I want to tell you what's going on a little bit in UK politics. So, of course, we've got our little things going on. And just so you guys know, so there's a guy called Jeremy Corbyn. You guys will know him. He's left, He's left for social justice, welfare for people, like basically getting the world to work for ordinary working class people. And actually, the person setting up the new party is someone, I think she's called, is it Zarina Sultana? Her last name is definitely Sultana. So what I wanted to do was sort of like talk about these energies, the changing energies, as we're seeing some of this horrific stuff, being passed the Trump regime. We're also seeing the pushback as well. So I hope that's going to give us a little bit of hope as well in these very, very testing times. You're all piling in. Let's just see here. We got some little feedback already. So Georgette Levesque is saying, hi, Olga, thank you for all you do. Can you read on Canada's economy with the tariffs and Trump's wanting to crash our economy? I'll see if I can squeeze that in. What's going on here? Oh, sorry. The chat's really going. So let's, Virgo Animal Whisperer, great name, says, important, please address that the Social Security admin says the no tax on benefits is true, but everyone is saying it was not in the ugly bill. Thank you. A lot of us want to know. So important, please address that the Social Security admin says no tax on Social Security benefits is true, but everyone is saying that it was not in the ugly bill. So, I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that one. If anyone can clarify, was Social Security included in this big ugly bill? Do let me know. So what I'm going to do is straight away, so thank you, everyone's piling in the chat. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to look a little bit at Jeremy Corbyn and Sultana raising or basically wanting to create a new political party in the UK. We're going to talk about Uranus again, because someone's got me a question here on Uranus. And again, Uranus is still close to the star Algol, unfortunately, end of June, July. But we need to see Uranus getting to like 7, 8, 9 degrees away from this star. So I'm going to start you straight off with a screen share. Oh gosh, they've changed the bloody buttons. They've updated. Oh, I think it's this one. They've updated. They've updated things and moved the buttons around, so I was in a little bit of a flap there for a minute. So let's start. Oh, and then we need to talk about Japan, the earthquakes. Do you remember I was talking about that? Which is the one? I think it's going to be this one. Oh, let's do share. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, we're going to get all sorts of adverts coming up. Sorry about this, guys. So this is from the Independent. That's what's her name? There we are. So on Thursday evening, ex-Labour MP, because she got suspended from the Labour Party because she protested about what was going on with Gaza. Oh, what's going on here? Let me just close this down. Anyways, so on Thursday evening, ex-Labour MP Zahra Sultana announced plans to set up a new left-wing political party alongside Jeremy Corbyn, taking aim at the government for having completely failed to improve people's lives. Yeah. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it dovetails in with Trump's big, beautiful bill, because in that, of course, unless there's been some kind of amendment, but do let me know in the comments, from what I understand, 800 billion is going to be cut from Medicaid and all of this kind of stuff. It's horrific. It should be called a murder bill. The Labour government recently tried to do something similar. It was around about 5 billion, so a drop in the ocean in compared to, of course, in the USA. But the government got a big slap in the face on it. And this is part of why Rachel Reeves was crying in Parliament. Yeah. So she says here, Westminster is broken, but the real crisis is deeper, Miss Sultana said, adding that just 50 families now own more wealth than half of the UK population. So think about that. 50 families in the UK now own more than half of the total UK population, and we're around about almost 70 million people. Yeah. So she says she's promised to offer an alternative to managed decline and broken promises. But what exactly will that look like in practice? Here, the Independent runs through everything we know so far about the new left wing offering in Westminster. So that is her, Zahra Sultana. And she's basically, look, as dissatisfaction grows with Sir Keir Starmer's government following last week's humiliating climb down on welfare. Yeah, they got defeated, so they had to change things. Ms. Sultana is attempting to offer a left-wing alternative to the Labour Party of today. So there's that, and then I can't see it. There was a picture here of Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, here he is. So this is Jeremy Corbyn. So meanwhile, Mr. Corbyn said, poverty, inequality, and war are not inevitable. Our country needs to change direction now. Yeah, so that's Jeremy Corbyn. He used to be the leader of the Labour Party, much more to the left, lost a general election because he didn't get enough support, but he's still a very popular figure. Yeah, so let me just stop the share there. So I just wanted to give a bit of context there, because for me, it is related when we think of Zohran Mamdani, and in terms of what he's wanting to bring to the table, and he's being called a communist, a socialist, for wanting to have free buses and free childcare, some shops being run by the state. And this isn't unique. This does happen in other states in America, by the way. So you see the way they're reacting, and Trump says, whoa, he better watch himself. Yeah, I'm going to cut off funding to New York, and madness. Yeah, madness. Let's see who else is here with us right now. Here, Tobias saying, yo, yes, a new party. So Tobias and I are fellow Brits. Yeah, we need to change, don't we, Tobias? Farage, I know a lot of people want to go with with reform, but Farage is working for the billionaires as well. They're all working for the billionaires. Yeah, we need a blend. Yeah, I think we need proportional representation. So it's not just one or the other, because you just buy out both sides and the billionaires still win, which is what we're seeing in America. Yeah, here we are. Let's see here. Carly Benov is saying, I heard that they will blame the Democrats in 2028 for Project 2025 mess that the GOP have passed. If people are stupid enough to believe it come that time, and you know, I mean, look, I mean, this is open goal stuff. I mean, this is open goal, assuming the midterms happen. And you know what, guys, I'm a bit worried about the midterms, to be honest. I know, you know, we want positivity and all of this kind of stuff, but I'm a bit worried about the midterms, because if you can open up alligator Alcatraz, where you openly say to everyone, hey, we're going to put our so-called undocumented and illegals and soon to American citizens in a concentration camp surrounded by alligators. So when you try and escape, you get eaten alive. That doesn't sound like a regime to me that is going to be very keen on, you know, doing midterms and stuff like that. He doesn't have Elon's support so much this time. Yeah, but we'll have to see. Who else is here in the chat? So here, Astro Chick is saying, it's not real. I got an email. There is no tax relief in the bill for Social Security, she says. Wow. All right. Someone says here, Leslie C says, Hogarth, do you see scores of people dying because of the theft of Republicans from Americans with this horrible bill? Yes, unfortunately. Yes. I don't talk much about the psychic stuff, as you know, but I'm going to level with you guys. There is quite a lot that I've had to hold back on YouTube, because I've not wanted to speak certain things because I didn't want to contribute to that timeline, if you know what I mean. You know, because the stuff that's happening, let me just drink this. This is really dark. You know, this is really, really dark stuff here. And what I will tell you guys, about almost 2 years, well, around about September, October 2024, you know, when the race between Kamala and Trump was really close. And I was shown two timelines, two futures, possible futures for America. The one if they chose Kamala, which was still going to be challenging, by the way, but it was better. And then the one if they chose Trump. Now, we know that there was cheating in there as well and all of this kind of stuff. But what I would say is this. The reason why they were able... oh, God, let me just... Deep breath. If we cast our minds back, do you remember when I did my prediction to see who would win? Yeah, the election. And I did it the day before the election. And then I did another video afterwards to explain why Trump won. But in that video, I said, technically, Kamala should win. But I said, Trump will cheat. In that video, it's back. I did this it must have been the day before the inauguration. So the video must be around about January 18th, 19th, 20th, something like that. Well, the inauguration was on the 20th of January. No, not the inauguration. What am I talking about? This is the day before the election. So we're talking, this is November 2024. So I must have done it on the 2nd or 3rd of November 2024. Yeah, forgive me. That's when I would have done the video. And you could see I was like this. I was like, because Trump has got this dark power in his chart, and I was explaining the seduction, yeah, the way that people were bamboozled. But I said technically Kamala should win, but I said Trump will cheat. And he's basically confessed it. Elon Musk has confessed it. They've done something very subtle. Now they're starting to look at, you know, anyway, but look, this is the situation that we're in. However, this timeline has been forced this way. And unfortunately, I did see a lot of loss of life with this with this timeline. Those that voted for Trump, they will regret this for the rest of their lives. They will regret this for the rest of their lives. I mean, not that it makes everyone else's lives better, but do you know what I mean? Anyway, so what's this? Someone saying, hello, morose holiday, but we must have faith in the divine. Yes, we must have faith, but we must also acknowledge reality as well. What's happened is real. Yeah, it's not theoretical. This bill was passed, and they've already said up to 51,000 people they're expecting will lose their lives each year just on the Medicaid stuff as well, let alone imagine SNAP and what have you. So you're right, it's important to have the positivity, but we also need to acknowledge reality, because this is part of the reason why we've got here, because a lot of people would not acknowledge the reality of Donald Trump, the reality of the consequences of what that would mean. Now the reality check is coming because Saturn is now in sidereal Pisces. And as you know, I said from 29th of March, I said the reality check is gonna start coming. A lot of illusions and delusions are going to be destroyed. A lot of people that voted for Duck Larange are now regretting it, but it's a bit late. Yeah, it's a bit late. So we're going to look at Mamdani's chart. There is some positivity there, but we must acknowledge reality, and readers should not be chastised as well, or being like, oh, you're being this, oh, you're being that. No, because false hope is even more painful than it just being real. Do you see what I mean? And I don't mean that as a critique. I'm just saying in general, we need to acknowledge psychological, emotional, spiritual reality and what this means. You know, this is very, very severe. This I think is going to lead to potential revolution in the United States. And I can see the states actually kind of breaking up into separate countries. And I've been seeing that. I wrote a blog on that back in, I think, 2021. And I never really wanted to talk about it because I didn't want to spook people, but I had to see the evidence. Is it coming? Is it coming? With this, it's extremely controversial. Anyway, so let's put here. The Net Ray is saying Florida is looking forward to National Guard and Marines in planes. Rumor has it that a new airport will be set up in Florida to fly out ICE prisoners. Well, yeah, it's not a rumor. They're calling it Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah. Trump was just there the other day. It's literally this old airplane shelter thing in a swamp. I think it's just been flooded recently, and it's literally surrounded by alligators. And they've set up they're setting up a concentration camp there. So do you see what I mean? We have to acknowledge these things. It's not theory anymore. You know, it's not chance. It's not a maybe. It's happening. Yeah, but we need to resist. Need to protest. Boycott. Yeah, with your buying, with your spending. This is the only thing that these billionaires understand is money. So let's see here. Someone's saying here, Virgo, Animal Whisperer, the Social Security Administration says it is in the bill. Wow, there's a lot of, so some people saying it's in the bill, some people saying it's not in the bill. Yeah. Again, Shiva saying Social Security is in the bill. Wow. KSB, sad day. And the Teresa is converting a reserving training center to fly out ICE retainers or reporters near Jacksonville, Florida. Oh my God. And then Astro Chick is saying they're lying to the elderly. Yeah, it's true. Well, look, let's look at, I've got your questions here, but let's look at Mamdani's chart, Zohran. Zohran is a bit of a bright light at the moment. Let's hope he doesn't get derailed by the billionaires. Let's hope he doesn't get corrupted. But I've been looking at his chart, and his Navamsha in particular, his second half of life chart is very good. He's 37 right now, so he's in the beginnings of his Navamsha. But when he turns 40, it will really start to come. So my analogy for it is that it's like a sunrise, yeah? The Navamsha is like the sun starts to rise around about 35, 36. And when we turn 40, imagine it's like the sun breaking the horizon. And then as we get older, yeah, that Navamsha D9 chart gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So let's look and bring in a bit of positivity here. Let's look at Mamdani and how he is relevant to the conversation. So let's just see here. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And we're going to look up. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on him. Actually, this wasn't the page I wanted. But anyway, so Trump threatens to cut off New York City funds if Mamdani doesn't behave. So this is The Guardian here. As you guys can see, The Guardian. Yeah. British newspaper, but famous. Donald Trump on Sunday threatened to cut New York City off from federal funds if favored mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, a democratic socialist, doesn't behave himself should he be elected. So look, you see they put a little paywall here. I'm a member here, so I could sign in, but it will take too long. So that is giving you a bit of context there. If I do stop share on that, and then do share again, because sometimes it doesn't always show if I swap. Right, I'm going to share his horoscope. I'm going to look at him from the Vedic, but just so you can see here. So Mamdani, who was born, Zohran Mamdani, born 18th of October 1991 at 1:15 a.m. Kampala, Uganda. Yeah, so here's a little biography on him. Ugandan American politician, member of the Democratic Party and Democratic Socialist America, who has represented New York's 36th State Assembly District in Queens since 2021. So he's new. Mamdani is a candidate in the Democratic Party for the 2025 New York mayoral election, which of course he's secured to go forward. His campaign platform includes support of free city buses, a rent freeze on rent or for rent stabilized housing, universal childcare, and city-owned grocery stores. If elected, Mamdani would be the first New York's first Muslim mayor. Now look how the billionaires are responding, and even some members of the Democratic Party going, "Oh, communist, communist. He's this, he's that, jihad, blah blah blah." All of this, basically, frankly, racist BS. He's asking for free buses. Why is that so controversial? You see, they don't want people to have anything, these people. Remember, Pluto in Capricorn. Anyway, in 2018, Mamdani was naturalized as an American citizen, so they're talking about revoking his citizenship. They need to start off with Elon, of course, first. He is a Shia Muslim identifying with the 12th branch. He married Syrian artist Rama Duwaji in early 2025. So he's just been married, and I can see that from his Jupiter-Venus dasher that he's in. As of 2025, the two live in an apartment in Astoria. Mamdani is a fan of hip-hop music. In 2019, he released a single called Nani under the stage name Mr. Cardamom. So he's got a sense of humor as well. And what made me chuckle with calling himself Mr. Cardamom, but the cookbook author and actress Madhur Jeffrey. Now, she is a saint of Indian cooking. Yeah, I've got a couple of her cookery books. Fabulous. She really helped popularize Indian food in the UK. I'm not even joking. She is a legend. Is featured in the singles music video. Yeah, so that's Mamdani there. So just to give you a little kind of background, because we're still learning about this guy, what we're going to do is we're going to look at his chart. But look, there's more information here. Debbie Kirkpatrick, let's listen here. So Debbie says, no, the bill does not eliminate tax on Social Security benefits. Google says it does include, the bill includes a temporary tax deduction for seniors aged 65 and over, which can be up to $6,000 between 2025 and 2028. So, you know, we're getting some more clarity here. Thanks so much. Someone says here, Susan says, depopulation agenda. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Pluto in Capricorn can be extremely dark because what is it's the remember I said it's the corporates, the oligarchy, top-down structures. Capricorn deals a lot with elitism as well, but there can be a very cold, ruthless side, unfortunately, to Capricorn, and Pluto is going through that. I know Western astrologers are talking about Aquarius, but Aquarius is more about, remember, humanity, technology, egalitarianism, equality. When we look at the world, is this really about equality? You know, again, you know, like I said, I still use Western techniques, and a good astrologer is a good astrologer, but we also have to look at reality, isn't it? That is manifesting. This is very much Pluto in Capricorn. It's this dark, fascist, corporate, ruthless, cruel energy that Pluto is bringing out. Yeah, do you see what I mean? Anyway, and then people are saying it's going towards ICE and prisons. Yes, I think ICE are getting, what is it, over 150 billion or something like that? It's over 100 billion anyway going to ICE. Let's see here. Hemlock says the Social Security email was misleading. Only certain recipients get added tax breaks. Not everyone qualifies for a tax break. So there we go. So we're getting more. And then Brenda C. Huggy, the Labour MP was protesting against child benefit cap. Yes, she was. It was limited to 2 children rather than more. And then more information here. Social Security raised the deduction of tax-exempt benefits temporarily. However, not clear if it's 4K or 6K, and it's for the 65 and older. That's coming from Kimberly. So we're getting lots of, yeah. Teresa saying it's $1 trillion cut over 4 years. Wow. And then oh, this is Minnie. Hey, Minnie, it's my sister. She said, yes, Dumpy Trump is cutting all social securities, including veterans, and giving it to multimillionaires and billionaires. The biggest tax break goes to the top 0.2% of Americans. 0.2%. Yeah. Right. Anyways, so let's look again, because we're getting all this information coming in. Let's look a little bit at Mamdani's chart, and then I'm going to get into your questions. Yeah. So we've covered Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. So they're kind of heading up the left in the UK. Zohran Mamdani is heading up the left in the USA. But it's fighting against these corporate structures, which is a big infiltrator in the Labour government in the UK and the Conservatives. And we'll see what happens with reform. But my instinct, because of what they said about Elon and all that kind of stuff, they're with the corporates, but it's just wrapped up in another way, you know, different flavor. Yeah, different flavor, but it's still the same thing. Right, let's see. And then Brenda C is saying we need a party for real working people. Absolutely. And then the US needs a new party also. And then Artistic saying, yeah, Farage is a scam. Forget him. Yeah, we know he's. Yeah. The trouble is he's very charismatic, though. That's the problem. He knows how to really get people on his side. But in the UK, you know, we're a bit different. We're a bit different in the UK. Let's just put here. And then Lynette Ray says, I'm at the point where I ask myself, what else will the idiot be allowed to do before he and his gang are thrown out of DC? Oh, Angela Locke saying it's buffering again. Am I still buffering? I can always turn down the camera quality and that reduces that, but the video won't look quite as good. And some Brenda Allen saying, I cried yesterday when it passed because of the harm it will do to people. Yeah, it's horrific. It's horrific. So am I buffering, guys? Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Let me scroll down. Let me just see what people are saying. Let's see. Anne Rudd is asking, will Elon have any success at primarying those GOP members that voted for this heinous bill? Let's have an ask. Let's get the old cards going. I mean, I hope so, but if the only hope is Elon, then that's a bit of a worry in itself, isn't it? So how's the sound, guys? Am I buffering? Am I okay? If it's not okay, then I will just turn down the quality. And then Bring Joy saying, yes, it's been flooded. This is the new concentration camp. Let's see. Am I okay? Is it showing all right? Gosh, I have to scroll down a lot. There's a lot of chat. Yeah, someone says here, this insane movement began with Reagan and won't end when Trump is gone. Their voters, politicians, evangelicals, extremists, and media have taken over the state's education, courts, and churches. Yeah, they're nutbags. But the answer is Mamdani and people like that. However, this is what I think, and I've not spoken about it much, but now the time has come because this bill has passed. I think the blue states are going to secede first because they won't have any choice. Think about it. You know, Governor Newsom in California has already said, well, look, I want to have my own trade deals with China, because you've got to remember that side is the West Coast. California is closer to China and Japan. You know, they send the ships that way and it hits California. Yeah. So if we think like, if that happens, then Hawaii, of course, will take on even greater significance. I even see the Kingdom of Hawaii being returned, by the way. I know I'm letting it all out now. I've been holding on to this stuff for years, but I see major change, because what can you do when you've got Duck L'Orange behaving this way? You know, like they've cut NOAA, which helps predict the weather for all those hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff. What do you think their plan is? Why do you think they've gutted NOAA? It's so that everyone in the red states, which will primarily get hit, won't have any warning for hurricanes. So they're cutting the SNAP. There's the Medicaid, which more of the red states rely on. That's being cut. The veteran stuff's being cut. There's no NOAA. So imagine disability, everything. You know, I know it's dark, but this is where we are. All right. Will Elon help primary those people that have utterly betrayed the American people? Will he primary them? If the trouble is, though, Trump could deport him. Just remember that. Yeah, Duck L'Orange has got the Trump card, but let's just see what the cards say. If we see the 6 of Swords come up, which is having to leave, yeah, move for smoother waters, then Trump will deport him. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Oh, there's 735 of you here right now. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe and share. It really helps the channel. It's much appreciated. The White House has shown up already. Ah! Oh, my God. All right. He's in trouble, man. Look. 4 of Wands, yeah? My card for the White House. Many of us readers interpret the 4 of Wands as the White House. So this is reaching a milestone. It's like a wedding celebration, but it literally deals with building foundations, building new things. So yeah, Elon's going to try and build what? A new party, which of course he would be leading, I would imagine, to try and get himself into the White House. Yeah. So I think he's going to try it. He's going to try. However, now, normally this is the obstacle card, but if the first card is positive, it's reinforcing. So what this is showing here, because the 4 of Wands is a positive card, this is showing his change of perspective. Yeah. his time mingling in the White House, meddling with all the things that he did. Look, he's trying to present himself as some kind of Robin Hood. Let's not forget the Nazi douchebaggery of this guy. But the fact that Elon seems to be the only hope at the moment, the only pushback against these people, that worries me a lot. But anyway, he's had a change of perspective. Here you see the halo of enlightenment. And what has changed his perspective? Yeah. The devil, yeah, he has realized just how dark Orange is. Let me tell you, I've said it before. I've read Trump's chart many times, and do you remember I said he's got this combination where he's got the lunar eclipse right in the 13th side of the zodiac called Equinoxes, and my Neptune is there. You know, I'll put my hands up. And this goes one of either two ways. The positive manifestation is people that try and bring healing into the world, enlightenment, healing, knowledge, wisdom, medicine, yeah, stuff like this. But the shadow of this placement is cults and cult leaders. Trump, we know, is a cult leader, and he's got his eclipsed moon slap bang in Equinoxes, which sits in towards the latter part of Scorpio. And it is the 13th sign of the zodiac that everyone has forgotten. He, Elon, has now up close started to realize some of the dark demonic powers, the voodoo of Orange. But this is also a card of addiction as well. Let's not forget, Elon is also an untreated addict on ketamine and goodness knows whatever he's doing. This is also talking about him. He's impregnating as many women as he can, and he wants to have his own legion army of children, yeah, which I'm sure he's also going to put the chips in their head. So he's hardly the best bet either. But look, he's seen the truth about Orange. Do you remember I said, if the 6 of Swords comes up, if he tries to set up a new party, do you remember I said Elon will deport him? Look, 6 of Swords. So the way I'm seeing that, if he sets up a party or he tries to primary people, this is to do with the White House, because he's had a change of perspective, but it's going to really bring out the devil in Orange, who is going to be like, on your bike, dude, flick. Because Elon overstayed a student visa. He could, you know, he could just turn ice on him. You know, people are being deported for less. People are being deported for tattoos. Whereas Elon bona fide genuinely overstayed his student visa. He shouldn't even be a US citizen anyway. It's only because of his money. And even then, Trump says, oh, maybe we should turn the monster of Doge onto Elon. Yeah. And then look, we see here fight, discord, you know, disagreements, arguments, everything. So he's going to be trying to fight, but ultimately that's what Trump will do. Yeah. If Elon tries to primary these people, set up a new party, Elon will deport him. Yeah. But, you know, there we are. There we are. All right. So I answered a question there. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Gosh, it's over 800 of you now. Let's look for a bit of optimism. Let's look at Mamdani's chart briefly, and then we'll get into more of your questions. All right. Here we go. Share screen. Entire screen. And then let's get the old. There we go. So as we can see here, this is Zohran Mamdani's chart, 18th of October, 1991, 1:15 a.m., born in Kampala, Uganda. Yeah, so here we go. So Mamdani, like me, is a Cancer ascendant. If you look here, he's got Chiron in the first house. So anyone who's got Chiron in the first house, they've often suffered an injury to the body or the identity, or as some kind of wounding, or very often it can manifest as bullying as well, or they have some kind of wound that they need to work out in their life. Also, though, it can also mean that the person can also become a healer. So if we look here straight away, he's got Chiron here in the first house. So he's wanting to bring healing energy and stuff like that. What is really positive is that he's got a fabulous Jupiter. He's got Jupiter in Leo. This is very good. I am yet to see Jupiter in Leo give a poor result. It always makes a person very courageous, very brave, very optimistic, very bubbly. Yeah. It gives Jupiter is very delighted in the sign of Leo, and it gives strong leadership skills as well. People who have Jupiter in Leo, they often get to positions of prominence or influence in life, because the Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru. And of course, guru means what? Teacher. Yeah, teacher, influencer, you know, a person who has gravitas. So he has that. If you look here, he's got his Venus here. Now, Venus doesn't always necessarily do that well in Leo. However, it is in the nakshatra called Purva Falguni. This is a very creative nakshatra. But, you know, famously, Madonna's got this nakshatra, but it deals with a lot of people that work in the arts, entertainment, stuff like that. Venus is a planet of entertainment, and this is her nakshatra. This is one of the reasons why Leo as a sign is so creative. And remember when I was reading the biography, he likes to rap, yeah, he likes to cook, and I think he's into astrology as well. Yeah, I think his mum was saying that. Jupiter and Venus aren't necessarily friends. However, when they are together, it can create a very luxuriant. This has a lot to do with luxury and the finer things in life. So he's probably got, you know, he's got good taste. I mean, I doubt his house is dripping with gold. I doubt he would be that vulgar, unlike a certain Duck L'Orange. But there's an element here. This is also as well a lot to do with prestige of the family, etc., and that kind of thing. If we look here, he is over here. If we see here, he's in his Jupiter dasher, so he's in a lucky phase in his life. Unfortunately, Duck L'Orange is also in a Jupiter dasher. Now, one of the things I predicted, I said, look, when he goes into Jupiter K2, I said, this could be when he might have to exit stage left. And I said, someone might try and take his life. Yeah. And they did. They shot at him, but he missed. Yeah. K2 has no head. He's blind. He can't see. So the guy, because K2 deals with like loners and, you know, the shadow of K2 is whack jobs, people in their basements, lone wolves and all of this kind of stuff. So the guy shot at Trump, but he missed. Yeah. Because K2 can't see. He's not a good shot. Oops. Yeah. And then we saw when Trump went into his Jupiter Venus dasher, which is what Mamdani is in as well, that kind of basically quite a lot of women voted for Trump. Yeah. Yeah, the Republican ones and quite a lot of Latin ones as well. We know this. I don't want to shame, you know, people too much, but we know the facts now. This is what happened. Yeah, which is also, even though there was cheating, it still was close. Yeah, close enough to get him over the hill. Anyway, millions still voted for this douchebaggery. Anyway, he is in Jupiter Venus dasher, so it means his Jupiter is active, his Venus is active. Venus is the planet of marriage. You'll see here he went into Jupiter Venus on the 6th of March 2024, and we know that he was married what, in 2025, early 2025. So you see here how Jupiter and Venus, Jupiter has brought him a rising in his career. It's in Leo, leadership, in Maga Nakshatra. And Venus has brought him his wife, marriage. It also means his wife is like a queen, but also as well what? Very creative. I think she's an artist, yeah? You see the Venus, which represents the wife in a man's chart, is in Purva Falguni, which is what? The most creative nakshatra. So he's married an artist. Do you see how it works? But this is also his interest as well. If you look here in his 4th house, he has got Pluto, he's got Mercury, he has got Mars, and he's got the Sun together. Now, technically, the Sun is severely debilitated in the first 10 degrees of Libra. Yeah. So 0 to 10, very debilitated. Debilitated in the whole sign, but those 10 degrees are the worst, yeah, or the most difficult for the Sun. However, before I read his chart, I thought, I looked at the day and I was like, okay, his sun is in Libra, but I bet there's a Parivartana yoga going on, and there is. So what you see here, Venus is in Leo, which belongs to the Sun, and the Sun is in Libra, which belongs to Venus. That means the two are exchanging. This is called a Parivartana yoga. Is it Parivartana? Yeah, I think so. And what it means is the sun is acting as if it's in Leo and Venus is acting as if she's in Libra. So it helps minimize that debilitation. This is why he's come to a prominence, yeah, a position of power. Let's hope he wins the election. If he stays alive, I think he will, yeah. You never know with these people. They're horrible. You know, these billionaires, they stop at nothing. I'm not wanting to say that he's going to be assassinated, anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, these people do not want him to win. Yeah. But you see here, he's got Mars here, which is showing his great passion. His Mercury is also very, very strong, showing his great gift for communication and skills. Anyone with a strong Mercury will have the gift of the gab, as we say in the UK. But here it's even, all of this is being boosted by Pluto. So he does want to transform. I think what's nice to see here as well, he's got Neptune, Rahu, and Uranus all together in Sagittarius in the 6th house. The 6th house deals with health and healing and overcoming obstacles. Neptune is very idealistic. Uranus is also very idealistic as well. And they're in the very idealistic sign of Sagittarius. So he wants to what? Bring what? Egalitarianism, equality to the people. 6th house deals with ordinary work, key workers, deals with literally the commute. Food, like food, diet, digestion is the 6th house. What does he want to do? He wants to have state-run grocery stores. Do you see? You see how it works? It's there. He's got the idealism. If we look here, Rahu is here as well, which is showing it's his manifest point of destiny. There in the 6th house. He's got his K2, oh, look, in drama Ardra. Yeah, Gemini here, drama Ardra. Ardra, I'm finding, even though it's a very dramatic nakshatra, it has a lot to do with people that become prominent. I'm really finding this now. A lot of politicians have Ardra. Trump, Duck L'Orange, yes, his Mercury is in Ardra. 15 degrees, yeah, very powerful. But look, Mamdani, his K2 is in Ardra. So it does cause tears, it does cause drama, but it can also bring a person to public prominence. This is what I'm finding. Also gives great gifts for speech, business, all of this kind of stuff. So, you know, he's got the chops. If we look here, though, this is a bit stressful. He's got the moon with Saturn. These two planets hate each other. They really don't like each other. However, his Saturn is very strong, not only by sign placement, because it's in its own sign of Capricorn, it's also in the 7th house. So this means directional strength for Saturn. It gets Dig Bala in the 7th house, directional strength. So when a person's got a strong Saturn, particularly in the 7th house, it means that they want to support the underdog. When Saturn is strong, people with strong Saturn, they want to support the underdog, the starving, the working class, people that have to what? Struggle and work. This is a planet of business, but it's also a planet of working hard. So you see, he's wanting to put that into works, and it's here with the moon. The moon deals with the public. The shadow of this combination is that it can deal a lot with anxiety and stress and sometimes depression. Yeah. So that's something he needs to kind of look out for, particularly because he's a Cancer ascendant as well. But planets are strengthened by being in the angles, and the angle their houses are 1, 4, 7, and 10. So this moon, it's a bit stressed, but it's also quite strong as well. Yeah. Anyway, his Navamsha is better. If we even better, he gets an exalted Jupiter in the 12th house. He's then got Moon, Venus, and Uranus in the 1st house in Leo. So he will become a leader. I'd be surprised if he doesn't become the mayor. If he doesn't become the mayor of New York, it's because he's been sabotaged in some kind of way. Yeah, because he has a leader's chart here. Leo is all about leadership. Exalted Jupiter, oh, it means there's a lot of spiritual depth, emotional intelligence. He'll be a very good leader. And I'm not just saying that, he's got it in the chart. His Rahu is strong. Rahu loves being in the 2nd house. It's in the sign of Virgo. So he's not going to lack money, cash, or finances. But Virgo is about what? Health and healing, overcoming obstacles. He wants to heal people. The sun is still debilitated here. And here it is with Neptune. So he is very, very idealistic. but he's going to look to collaborate with in regards to business, entrepreneurship, creativity, stuff like that. But what I like is also what he's got Chiron in the 4th house. Chiron is the wounded healer. When it's in the D9, it shows how we're healing ourselves or healing others. He's got here in the heart chakra. 4th house deals with what? Real estate. What's one of the things he's proposed? Rent controls, where people live. Yeah, do you see? So he's already starting to live some of his higher ideals because he's 37 now. The energy of his Navamsha started 35, 36. So do you see how the light is getting stronger in his Navamsha? And if we look here, he's got Mars very strong in the friendly sign of Sagittarius, and it's there with Mercury. Mercury and Mars are not friends. However, Mars is very, very strong. Here, this can also show gifts for sport, but it looks like to me it could be 2 children if he doesn't have children already. This looks like 2 to me. Yeah, and definitely a boy, because Mars deals with males. Yeah, it will be a very, if he does have a boy, it'd be very sporty and athletic, but strong-willed. Oh my God, the son will be an absolute handful, even if it's a girl. Yeah, very strong. And here you've got Mercury here, so that means one of the kids would be kind of geeky, very brainy, very idealistic if he has 2. But I would imagine, I don't know if he's got kids already, but it looks like to me he might have a couple of kids when he gets older. Probably when he's getting like 39, 40, that might be when he starts his family. He's only just been married anyway, so I don't know if they had kids before, but it's unlikely with his background. You know, being Muslim and stuff, you're normally married first before you have kids. His Saturn is very strong in the 7th house in Aquarius, which is about the people serving the people. And K2 is very strong as well. He is very, very spiritual, guys. Yeah, and probably quite psychic as well. K2 in the 8th house makes very psychic people and astrologers and all of that kind of stuff. I've got K2 in the 8th. Don't tell anyone. Anyways, let's stop sharing there, because I think that's enough on that. So he's look, he's a positive at the end of the day. He's a positive. Let's get into some of your questions. Oh God, look at time. I might have to run over a little bit. Okay, let's see here. So someone is asking, where is Uranus in the month in Vedic astrology? The Western astrologies are going nuts with Venus in July. That's coming from Teresa. Sorry, just to quickly show you again, share screen. Pardon me. Let's just show you one of the reasons why we're still having so much trouble. If we look here, do you see where it says TR, Uranus is still at 5 degrees, 39 minutes. It's still conjunct Algol. Once it gets to 7, 8, 9 degrees, that's when things should calm down a bit. Let's do animated transits. So I can give you, let's do monthly, see. I think like once we get to September, yeah, because if we go back, even in August, it's 6 degrees, 46 minutes. So it is waning a bit from the star Algol, but still quite a close orb. We might have to wait until August for things to potentially calm down a bit. Yeah, relatively speaking. All right, let's see here. Tina Morgan is saying, I feel like I'm on a different planet. Nothing seems good anymore. All I seem to see around me is evil and evil people causing trouble. Nothing makes sense to me anymore. I know it's just evil, isn't it? So Studio Shoe says, will Fox News change for the better with balanced news reporting when Rupert Murdoch is no longer in charge? Well, let's take a look. Let's see here. Will Fox News change for the better? I mean, they've started to, you know, call out Trump a little bit, but let's see, if Rupert Murdoch's gone, will they improve? But one of his children's spawn just take over in its place. Let's have a look. Well, look at this. Illusions and delusions, yeah, they're going to keep going with their BS, yeah, with their utter bull crap that they've been talking. But, you know, it also shows they're confused as well. They're not sure what decisions to make. I mean, how long can you keep defending this? Defending death, yeah? You know, it's just ridiculous. But look, they're discombobulated, you know, and this is all of them still spouting their bullshit, unfortunately. If we look here in the obstacle position, we see a lot of hard work coming for Fox News. It depends. I think it's gonna, if the blue states kind of separate off a little bit, maybe they can do class action lawsuits and all of that kind of stuff. But it's going to get, this is hard work. Yeah, it's going to get harder, and it's going to get harder with time for them to keep kind of promoting this stuff. If we look here, we see, look, there's division, fighting, conflict within Fox News. I think as things get worse, how are they going to keep defending this stuff? However, they're going to keep hammering away at their usual stuff because obviously they are apostates of Donald Trump. But look, there's an element of exit stage left. So I think it could be maybe when he goes, or when Murdoch exits stage left. Let's just pull a clarifier on that. What's that clarifier on the 6? See if they reform, if it's a positive card. Oh, yeah, you see here they get the Hanged Man, which is a change of perspective. What my instinct is that as things continue to get worse, they're going to find it harder and harder to defend the BS. Yeah, they're just going to be called out more and more. I mean, they should all just be sued anyway. It's just ridiculous. All right, let's see here. Nick Minks is saying, can cards show if we can jump to better reality than this one? We need some hope. Look, guys, I know everyone is like, let's change timelines. Let's jump to this thing. Oh, the aliens will come. Look, it's not. We have to accept that the power is accepting the reality, yeah, and making different choices. So that what can people do? Protest, yeah, protest. Literally make different kind of choices. When it was like boycott like products, and like, you know, look how they were boycotting, what's it called, not Walmart, but you know, they were boycotting that that chain. Change your buying habits. Do things like get plant boxes, like I said, start growing your tomatoes, your herbs, just, you know, you're becoming more self-sufficient. Talk to your neighbors, make plans, contingency plans of how to support each other and stuff like that. The more that we reach out, the more that we work together, and the more that people protest and demand change, and the more Mamdanis that we get, you know, you have to vote for them. So say like in the UK, they're setting up this new party. What can we do? We can vote. Yeah, we can vote for Corbyn and Sultana. We can vote for them. And that will empower, do you see? And I know it's difficult for people, but imagine if we could all just switch timelines, we would, wouldn't we? But Earth School as well is about, it's about psychological and spiritual growth as well. It is about how to work to come together. As difficult as this is, a lot of people did vote for this, and they are pulling us through the mud as well. And part of this, they have to wake up as well. Yeah, they have to wake up. So let's just see if the cards have got any advice. Yeah. What advice do the cards have to help people deal with these times? You know, I've seen in some comments in other people's videos, people just like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be on New Earth. Why am I here? Have I been forsaken? Have I been left behind? No, you haven't. You haven't. We're here on planet Earth. We're here together. Yeah. And it's about, sometimes we have to see the ugly so people learn, you know. Not that we needed the teaching, and it's so unfortunate because, you know, I mean, None of us in the rest of the world voted for this. We didn't vote for tariffs and all of this rubbish. Let's see here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is really quite positive. So if we look here, what's the advice? Look, we get the 8 of Cups. Yeah, the eight of Cups. The King of Cups. Now, this can be talking about the divine masculine, especially in the positive. Yeah, this can be talking about what? Compassionate leaders. This is someone like a Mamdani. Yeah, he's what? Cancer rising, water sign. Yeah, so this is a good omen. Yeah, this suggests that he will come to a position of prominence and stuff like that. Yeah, so we need to be voting more for the Mamdanis of this world. This could also be a Jeremy Corbyn as well. He would come up very much as a king of Cups. So as things get darker, these more people are going to resist. And on the political side, we're going to have more political choice. Yeah. So there's that. We look here as well, though. Look, this is we got the King of Wands. Remember, Wands is also about finances, yeah, money, finance, business, yeah. So again, making positive business, choosing positive business leaders. If we look here, we get the Lovers card, which is about making important choices, yeah, key important choices. This is also a card I associate with imports and exports, yeah. So this is also dealing with trade. So this is also as well about the world reaching out to the world, buying different products from different places, yeah. Making these choices, seeing who you can collaborate, who you can team up with, even if they're in different states. Yeah, we look here, we get the Star card. Wow, now this is the card that comes after the Tower. This is the card of rejuvenation. This shows that the universe has got your back. Yeah, so there is that element here of rejuvenation, rebirth. I think it's going to take a revolution in the United States. I really do. But this is a very positive card. And then look, the outcome card, do you see here? It is the 3 of Pentacles, which is the card of collaboration, working together. So this is about working together, collaborating, connecting with your neighbors. Even if someone voted for Trump and they are repentant, genuinely repentant, you know, convince them to vote Democrat, you know, next time, you know, all of that stuff. And many of them are. So you see, that's actually quite positive. And I really do like that Star card in there. So look, there is some hope. There is some hope. The big ugly lies past the house. Have we seen? This gives a big orange dictator clown more powers. So do the card show whether there's any coming back for the US, especially as it's Independence Day? Something seems to be, and then it's run out. Let's have a look. Oh, do you want to know? Yeah. We've seen that positive side. Let's just do one last pull just to see what the potential impact of these things are, which we've already talked about. And there could be some more advice in there. I know I'm running over a little bit. Let's do one more pull on this hideous bill, the bill. What's the impact? What's the impact of this bill? The impact. What's the impact? So, if we see major arcanas, then we know it's a big deal. Well, I didn't really want to end on this, but anyway, look. So here we are. Here's the billionaires. Yeah. It's dark orange, but this is the billionaire class. Yeah, the King of Pentacles. Yeah. If we look here, he's done a deal with them. Done a deal with what? The rich, the oligarchy, yeah, which we can all see. This is going to lead to people, what? Trying to hold on to their money, trying to hold on to their security. There's going to be shocks and surprises, yeah. It's a tower moment, yeah, tower moment for all of America, but also the world as this plays out. And look, it's designed to make people feel trapped, trying to make them feel helpless, yeah. But this is also a card of, this is also as well, this is talking about the Trump voters, yeah, because this is about tying yourself in a bind, but you being responsible, yeah, for your own demise in a way. Let's get a clarify on that. Well, if we look here, if there's one positive, yeah, you can see the hangman is back. So it's going to lead to a change in perspective. Yeah. Ultimately, could this be what finally wakes up the majority of MAGA? Yeah. Because they're, you know, I remember it's going to be worse for the red states. Yeah. They get this tower moment here. So if there's any positive out of all of this, it will lead to a change in perspective. If the midterms happen and Duck L'Orange doesn't do some evil, goodness knows what, like declaring martial law or some shite like that. But if we get to the midterms, then of course it's going to be extremely good for the Democrats. But they need to clean house as well, because they've not exactly been welcoming to Mamdani, have they? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. So look, vote for people like Mamdani. More will come. This is the positive. More will come because there's this change, yeah? This change in perspective. More will come. And because of this change in perspective, more people will vote for the right thing, yeah, if they're given the chance. So maybe this is the silver lining. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is effing horrible. But I think most of the things they've got planned to kick in 2028, isn't it, to try and scupper the Democrats. So they need to get on their horse in terms of messaging and stuff like that. But this is leading to a change in perspective, yeah? Even a bit of enlightenment for some people, where people are realizing like, oh, yeah, what have I done? So look, I've been able to end on a more positive one there. So thank you so much for your donation. No name, big bill doesn't take effect until after the midterms. Yes, this is true. This is true. So there is time. But look, change of perspective, guys. Change of perspective. And also as well, independents will do better. Not just Democrats, independents. Anyone who is for more democratic socialism is going to do well. Vote for them up and down the ticket if you get a chance. Yeah. So let's see. I will leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. It was like, I think 830 of you in the end. So thank you so much. Please, of course, be sure to like and subscribe. So I'm glad I was able to end on a little bit more of a positive there. Yes, it doesn't kick in until after the midterms, but nonetheless, plan, save. Like I said, grow your fruits, vegetables, talk to your neighbors, come up with a plan, protest, protest, protest. Yeah, combine your resources, your energies, help each other. If you have someone who's a Duck L'Orange voter and they've seen the light and it's genuine, get them on side, you know. Everyone's going to need everyone, yeah, going forward. Anyway, I will leave it there. I've gone on long enough. Thanks so much, everybody. And of course, you will see me next week. Maybe I might do a video. No, I can't do a video on Sunday. I'm going to be too busy. But anyway, I will leave it there for now. Mwah! Big love. One foot in front of the other, and protest, protest, protest. All right. Bye-bye for now.